Today, inshallah, in this brief reminder, I want to talk about something that's very important to many of our families, and that is that how can a man strike a balance between his parents and his own family? This is, subhanAllah, every single time after time I would say, I get these kind of calls. I get calls from men that they have problems with their families are complaining, and I get calls from women that they complain that their husbands are not creating a balance within their family and is causing a lot of issues between their marriage. So first of all is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Quran when it comes to parents, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the importance of showing ihsan to the parents. That after the worship of Allah, after tawheed, the most important thing is to show ihsan, to show respect, dignity to your parents. At the same time, one cannot be neglectful towards his own family, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also says in a hadith that one of the worst sins that a person can commit is a person is willingly, he understands that he's doing something that is wrong, but he does not try to fix it. But this is when a person neglects his family. This is one of the worst sins that a person can commit. So, keeping in mind the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, keeping in mind the ayah of the Quran, a person has to strike a balance when it comes to his family, his parents, and when it comes to his wife and his kids. Now, the question often comes up, and I'm trying to take all these problems I've been seeing and facing, and I'm trying to just put them in a question format. So the question often comes up is that what do we do when the parents come and they want to live with their children? Now, I've talked about this before in one of my other lectures, that what is the concept of joint families within our deen. This is not that. This is where a husband and wife have decided that they're going to live separately, but sometime down the road, the parents decide that they want to come and live with their children. So first of all, I will mention this. Often when I do premarital counseling, and when I usually do premarital counseling, I cover 20 areas of marriage, because marriage is Pandora's box if you think about it. It can become very complex. I cover 20 areas of marriage, and usually in my premarital counseling, when I do it, I ask some very difficult and uncomfortable questions, because I believe that you'd rather be prepared for marriage rather than having surprises after marriage, and that can cause a lot of issues. Wallahi, I tell you honestly, I've seen divorces within a week. I've seen divorces within a month. I've seen divorces within 2 months. So you see that there are a lot of issues within our community, and they're over small issues. And that is why I believe that husband and wife should go through premarital counseling, and they should be prepared. And if there's any surprises prior to marriage, you'd rather be surprised before marriage than being surprised after marriage. So usually this question comes up is that what do we do when parents want to come and live with their children? Now, a lot of times the husband says, it's my house. My parents can come and live with me whenever I want, and so forth, whether the wife gets along with them or not, and so forth. So in this particular situation, if the husband can financially afford it, then he should give his wife her own separate place of living. He should offer her and arrange for her own separate place of living. If it's a 2-story house, keep her upstairs, keep the parents downstairs, for example. That can also work. But we're talking about, once again, if the husband can financially afford it. Just recently, I got a call from a man that he's going through some issues with his family, but once again, he cannot afford. His family has come to live with him. His parents have come to live with him. His wife is making a big issue about it, but he's saying that I cannot financially afford it. So I had to tell him that you have to explain to your wife that if the parents are not coming for a very long time, then just be patient while they're there. Eventually, then the parents are going to leave. But in that situation, if he can afford it, the wife should be given her own separate space. And at the same time, by doing this, he is not disobeying his parents. So if the parents say that, no, you cannot give your wife a separate space of her own, she has to live in this house and so forth, then in that case, if he says, no, I'm going to keep her separate, this is not him disobeying his parents. At the same time, it is also important, especially for women, and I always give this advice to women, that do not ever try to create a competition kind of situation. Do not create a situation where you're trying to compete for your husband's love. A Muslim woman, a true Muslim woman, will always teach her husband and advise her husband to love his parents, to respect his parents, and so forth. If a husband is disrespecting his parents, neglecting his parents, a good wife is someone who will remind her husband that call your parents. A good wife is a woman who's going to teach her husband, remind her husband that you should be respectful to your parents and so forth. A good woman is not a woman where she endorses, she advises, and she encourages disrespecting his parents and so forth. So that is why it is very important that this is how the situation that she should create. Now, there are situations like this also, and I'm not making this up, this happens, where parents would come from overseas, for example, and they come for a duration of the year. Sometimes it could be 3 months, sometimes it could be 4 months, sometimes it could be 6 months. And there are cases where at that time, the husband completely neglects the family. Why? Because the mother of the husband is telling her son that the only way you will go to Jannah is by serving us. That is the only way you will go to Jannah is by serving us and not your family and so forth. So while we come here from overseas, you have to give us your complete undivided attention. And what happens is that the husband gives his undivided attention to his parents, taking his parents everywhere, staying with them and so forth. And what happens is that the wife and the kids are completely neglected. When the wife has told the husband that you have to give me time, you have to give your kids time, you have to give us attention, he keeps on saying that the only way I can go to Jannah is by serving my parents. This is where the parents are completely wrong. If the parents are teaching their child that this is the only way you'll go to Jannah, then first of all, the son is wrong to believe his parents, and the parents are also wrong to teach this kind of idea to her own kids. And this is coming once again from the mother to the child, that this is the only way you'll go to Jannah. This is not the only way you'll go to Jannah. In fact, you will be deprived from Jannah because of the fact that you are neglecting your wife and kids. I say this in every single nikah I've conducted. Okay? I've conducted over 500 marriages. I say this in every single nikah I've conducted. When a man says qabiltuha, when a man says I accept her, when a man says maine qabul kiya, what that means is that you're accepting her as your wife, but you're accepting the fact that now from this point onward, you will fulfill your role and responsibility as a husband, and you will take care of her and protect her and be there for her. That is what you are accepting. You're accepting the responsibility that comes with being a husband, and this is not, in this case, this is not taking care of your family by completely neglecting your family and giving all the attention to your parents. In that particular situation, a man has to strike a balance. Now I understand this. I will say this, that I understand that even in those kind of situations, families may not be happy. Sometimes the parents are not happy. Sometimes the wife and kids are not happy. But a man should at least, he can stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment and say that, Ya Allah, while both of them were unhappy, I tried my best to strike a balance. I tried my best to try to create a situation where everyone gets their due attention. Yes, of course, everyone is, weak and so forth. I may not be giving exactly 50% and 50%, but I tried my best. That is something that, a person should do. The next thing is that, which I've seen a lot of issues also, many families, is that there are cases where the man is sending money overseas to take care of his siblings, to take care of his parents, and a lot of times the wife will make a big issue about this. That why are you sending money overseas, but you're not spending money over here for us? Now, in that particular situation, I'll say this. If the man is well off, where he is taking care of his family, he's not neglecting his family, and he's sending money overseas, is absolutely fine. It's his money. He can do whatever he wants with it. As I talked about this a few weeks ago, even in the case of a woman, if she has her own job, she has her own career, she has her own money, then in that particular situation, she can spend her money on her parents. Likewise, a husband can spend his money on his sibling and his parents as he wishes. But the issue becomes when they are neglected, the wife and the kids are neglected while he's sending money overseas. You understand? That situation is not right. And in that particular situation, you try to once again create a balance. Now, every single family has their own situation going on. There are some families where you have multiple siblings, and multiple siblings can collectively, pull together their money, help out their parents. They should do that. If it's only one child in the family, then in that particular situation, they should try to strike a balance where they're taking care of their family, they're taking care of their parents also. And yes, if that means that his family may have to make some sacrifices in their life so that he can take care of his parents, there's nothing wrong with that. But he should not create an extreme situation where he's taking care of his parents completely and he's neglecting the family. He's neglecting the family completely. So this is something that's very important. The next thing that becomes a serious conflict is when the parents so when I say parents, it means parents or the siblings of the husband do not get along with the wife. And this happens once again a lot of times. So what do we do in that kind of situation? So there are scenarios like, for example, the husband tells his wife, I'm going to my parents' home, you have to come with me. Now she knows that every time I go there to my in-laws, there's always a rift. There's always an issue. And by the way, I will tell you this. A lot of times if the issue does not happen over there, then the husband has to deal with the burden, okay? On the way back, the husband has to hear, your family is this, your family is that, your brother is this, your sister is that, and your mother is this, your father is that, and he just has to hear, poor man, he has to hear it over and over again. Okay, so many of you are laughing, meaning that you've gone through this before. So what do you do in that kind of situation? In that situation, a man should not force his wife. If the wife says, I don't want to go because I don't want to face any kind of issues and so forth, then in that particular situation, the husband should not force his wife to go to her in-laws, meaning to go to his parents' home. At the same time, the wife does not have the right to say to her husband that you cannot bring your parents over to our home. Yes, if the wife says, and the husband should give her permission, if the wife says that while your parents are around, if they come around for around like 1, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, I'm going to go and occupy myself somewhere else. I'll go to my friend's house, I'll go to the masjid, I'll go do something somewhere, but I don't want to be at home when your family is around. And because just to avoid any kind of conflict, first of all, the husband should not say no to the wife. Yes, he should try to advise her, but if there's some serious conflicts, and once again, there are some serious conflicts in many families, then in that particular situation, the husband should not say to the wife, if the wife says she wants to go for a while, then the husband should allow her to go. Now, the next thing is that when it comes to parents' involvement in a marriage, the next question is, to what degree can parents be involved in the marriage of their own children? First of all, I say that the parents should not be at all involved in their own children's marriage. And by the way, this is a very cultural thing. Many parents believe that my son or my daughter, they do not know anything in life, hence I need to be involved in their marriage. Well, if they don't know anything in life, why did you let them get married to begin with? That's my question. If you feel like that they are so immature that they don't know anything in life, why did you let them get married to begin with? Because marriage is also about maturity. Marriage is about maturity too. So that is why, first of all, I say that the parents should not be involved in their kids' marriage unless the kids themselves want to make their parents part or bring them part of the marriage and involve them into the marriage. So what that basically means is that the parents should not feel the need that I need to know every single thing, what my son is doing, what my daughter is doing. Like anything they buy, anything wherever they go, anytime they go for a vacation, anytime they go and they buy something. There are some parents who have so much control over their kids that they feel the need that I need to know every single thing that's going on in their family. And you don't. As parents, you don't need to know every single thing that's going into the family. Yes, there is nothing wrong. Let me say this. There is nothing wrong for a child, for a husband or for a wife to go and seek some mashwara, some consultation from their parents. Imagine there's an issue going on between husband and wife. Now at that time, the parents of the husband will say to their child that, you know what, my son, if there's anything, we can help out and so forth. If the son is not asking for the help, the parents should not get involved. Yes, if the son comes to his own parents and says, I need some help or I need some consultation, the only thing the parents should be doing in that particular situation is providing their consultation, and that is it. Providing consultation to their daughter, providing consultation to their son, and let the husband and wife sit down and let them resolve their issues by themselves. This is part of maturity of marriage, by the way. When the husband and wife, they sit down and they talk to each other and they learn how to compromise in marriage, because marriage is not about my way or the highway. It's about working with each other, compromising. You might have to give up some things. You might have to negotiate on some things and so forth here and there. So marriage is about working with each other. It's teamwork. And team stands for what? Together, everyone achieves more. This is what team is. So that is why it is important that we work with each other. Yes, go to your parents. Your parents have, for many young men and women, they don't know when to involve their parents. Yes, there's nothing wrong in getting the parents involved. They do have a lot of experience. They can also provide some guidance and so forth. But the parents should not get involved into the marriage. By the way, I'll tell you, in America right now, one of the key reasons of divorces within our community is in-law interference. It's in-law interference. So that is why it is very important that we don't do this. And finally, if there's an issue between a husband and a wife, I get calls a lot where the wife is telling me or the husband is telling me that our issues are wallahi very minute, very small. The ones who are magnifying the issue are the parents. The ones who are magnifying the issue are the parents. Parents, at the end of the day, need to play a role. If they are asked to be involved, they need to play a role of bringing people together, not dividing people, not separating and breaking families. A lot of times, the mother, she would tell her son, your wife is this, your wife is that, your wife is this, your wife is that. You can get so many other women and so forth. There's so many other fishes in the sea and so forth. Just let her go. This is not right. For parents to go and break apart their families is not right. Yes, let the husband and wife talk to each other. And subhanAllah, when I've advised them to sit down and talk to each other, the husband and wife, subhanAllah, they've been able to resolve their issue together. But the parents are the ones who are trying to separate the two. That is not right in any family. So we keep these few things in mind, inshallah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring peace and happiness to our families. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in our families. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. Wa jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات والصابرين والصابرات والخاشعين والخاشعات والمتصدقين والمتصدقات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما.